over the barbecue hunk. You're listening to the Barbecue Central Show. Have a hunky day.
We'll do it live. Okay. Well, do it live. I'll write it and we'll do it live.
So to get that perfect barbecue, you use wood. Are you sure it's safe? Whatever. We put the lighter fluid on, strike the match, and oh, should we call the fire department? That might be a good idea.
All right, good evening, and welcome to the really big Barbecue Central Show. This is the show that talks about all things that are important in the world of barbecue and grilling. Show originating from the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame city, Bomb City, USA, Cleveland, Ohio, the barbecue capital of the North Coast. I'm your program host, Greg Rempe. Happy to have you aboard here on your Tuesday evening's live fire fun and frivolity show. If you would like to follow the show during off-show hours, or if you would like to get in contact with the show while we're on, here's how you do it.
You can get in touch with the show by sending an email to Greg at bbqcentralshow.com. Follow us on all the social media channels at BBQ Central Show. And be sure to subscribe to the show podcast feed on your favorite podcast platform.
Anything else you want to find out about the show can be found at the main website, thebbqcentralshow.com. And here's what's happening in case you get the newsletter. Coming up in about 12 minutes from now, first timer to the show, live fire lover, social media maven, YouTube growing subscriber base, and the list goes on. Maybe you've heard of him. Maybe you're just getting introduced to him tonight. Tim Clowers joins the show. So we'll learn all about Tim and his journey into live fire, what he likes to cook, what he likes to cook on, all that fun stuff. The things you've come to know, love, and expect from the show as we pull great information out from first-time guests and hope that we don't offend them in the process. So if they're really good, they might come back on at a later date. Then 35 past the hour, we missed him last month because he had a work obligation, but he's back and better than ever this month. The creator of CookoutNews.com, Wes Wright, joins us. So most of the stuff that we had planned to cover last month was evergreen, so that's going to transition over into this month's conversation. However, there are some other new things that Wes has written about over the past 4 weeks that we can talk about as well, and that'll bring a close to the first hour. We'll move to the second hour. Quarterly guest, believe it or not, we're in Q2, in the beginnings of, and Jess Pryles. JessPryles.com, HardcoreCarnivore.com creator is in for her quarterly segment. We're going to be touching on a subject that I've been planning for the last 6 or 7 weeks. I've had phone calls with Jess about this, and I have seen a reemergence, let's call it, of this particular topic. It's a hot button item. It is one that incites decisiveness. It's potentially salacious. It's potentially racial. It's potentially cultural dividing. And while it sounds like in my voice that I'm gimmicking up a little bit, really when you dig into the comments of posts that are made on this kind of a topic, I'm not kidding at all. It can become very divisive. So we're going to be talking about it. I'll tease it out, and that's all I'm saying. But Jess Pryles, 14 past the second hour. They'll move to 35 past the second hour, where the newly minted Tennessee correspondent embedded is Matt Osman, and he's joining us as we lead into May next month. Memphis in May and Smoke Slam are getting ready to go, and we'll talk to him about the latest gossip, news, rumors, and or otherwise, because Matt is all over the Memphis scene. So that's how the show's laying out tonight. Tim Clowers, Wes Wright, first hour, Jess Pryles, Matt Osman in the second hour. And don't forget, you can follow me socially over on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, and the Snapper Snaps, all at BBQ Central Show. And, of course, we say good evening to those of you watching tonight through one of our video streaming platforms. You can go to Facebook.com/BBQ Central Show, Twitter.com/BBQ Central Show, and YouTube.com/@BBQ Central Show, where we have a YouTube poll question of the week going on. And, well, I thought this was a great question. Immediately, embedded correspondent from Colorado, Dennis Busso, pointed out that he's a member of the question I'm going to ask you about. So if you're a member, maybe pretend like you weren't a member. Use your imagination, if you might. And then feature this question, because we're asking everybody tonight, including all guests. Does the acquisition of Barbecue Stars by AmazingRibs.com make you want to become a member of the Pitmaster Club? Remember last week, Meathead said the deal is done, signed, sealed, delivered, money's paid, videos acquired. What do you say? 62% of you are saying currently no. Now, I asked the 62% that have voted on YouTube, and you can only vote on YouTube. So if you're watching any other way and you want to take part in the poll officially, get over to YouTube, make your poll selection, and then you can jump out if you want, if you like looking and watching on other platforms. But you got to only vote on YouTube, or throw it up there in the instant chat. I'll probably see it, but it won't count. But at least I'll know where you stand. So 67% of you are saying no, it doesn't swing you to becoming a Pitmaster Club member. Results from last week's poll, and I asked everybody, are you currently a social or regular smoker of premium hand-rolled cigars? And 75% of you shockingly said no. Now, you might remember that Justo Aroa, guest from last week, said 1.5% of the American public is even a customer of premium hand-rolled cigars, which is shocking. Can you imagine if they ever get to 5%? They'd all have private jets and so forth. So I want to start here tonight, and in case you missed it,
a Barbecue Central Show exclusive news update.
The Famous Dave's All-Star Barbecue Series is returning for another season here in 2024. In fact, we are just about a month away from the first of what will be 15 total events taking place between May and August, and I do have some other info for you because I know you want to know. First and foremost, registration is open to all barbecue teams in good standing with WFC or sanctioned or other sanctioned bodies. Space is limited to each location. Keep that in mind as we talk about that more here in a second. A $100 registration fee secures your spot. In addition to the prize purse that we'll talk about here in a second, there are additional items at stake, i.e. to win. So, prize purse at each event. Grand champion wins $1,000 plus. There's the additional. You get a qualification into the 2024 World Food Championships Barbecue Championship, which takes place Indianapolis, Indiana, November 8th through the 12th this year. Reserve Grand gets $400 plus qualification into the 2024 World Food Championship Barbecue Championship, again taking place in Indianapolis, Indiana, November 8th through the 12th. You have category payouts. First place, $500. Second place, $400. Third place, $300. So if you win the whole thing and you win a few categories, you could be leaving with $2,000 plus for a $100 registration fee. Pretty good payout. Better than SCA in a lot of turns or contests, if I'm not mistaken. Here are the categories that you will be cooking in this season: chicken, ribs, and wild card. As far as wild card, it's anything you want. However, it must be served on a silver platter. And I'm not just saying that to be tongue-in-cheek. Literal, it has to be served on a silver platter. All teams must commit to a public sampling of chicken wings, 100 each after their last turn-in. The wings will be provided to each team free of charge. So if you want to get into an event, you have to make that commitment. And there's only 5 teams per event. So as we look through the 15 events, and 2 were already added as additional items, so it was originally 13, now it's 15. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 are currently full. So the whole thing kicks off about a month from now on May 18th in Fresno, California. That's the new one that was added the same weekend in Union Gap, Washington. You can't get in there. It's full. However, the one in Fresno, California, you can get in still. Not full. Other events that are full, we'll talk about that maybe in the second hour or next week. So if you were looking to take part in the All-Star Challenge for World Food Championship sponsored by Famous Dave, you're in luck. It's happening. Before we get to Tim Clowers, I'm talking to you about this fine beauty. Oh, look at it. Stainless steel, ceramic burners running really, really hot. Steaks and lamb chops. What about lobster tails or delicate fish? What about romaine lettuce? Yes, grilled lettuce. You ever had it? Scallops, broccolini, you name it. This thing, while you might think it is a sole steak cooker, can it rip roar a steak like nobody's business? Absolutely. But can it do all the other stuff as well? Absolutely. I talked to a top chef here earlier today at 3 p.m. who is a Schwank Grill owner by coincidence, and he's a lover. Uses it all the time. So here's what you need to know. You want to save money? I know you do. Central Lights love a deal. Go to schwankgrills.com, SCHWANK grills.com. And then as you choose between fuel types, liquid propane or natural gas, because you can hook it to your house if you want, at checkout, use promo code BBQ Central, and you can save $150 off a Schwank Grill. Buy 2, double the capacity. Why not? You'd save a total of $300. It's almost like free. You can use it as a cheese melter. You can use it as a chicken wing cooker. You can take it to parking lots for high schools. Football games will be coming up here before you know it, so tailgating. You'll be the hit of the tailgate. And you can save $150 if you use promo code BBQ Central. Yeah, there's a logo on the homepage of the website you can click on and go from there. There's a link in the show notes, in the podcast notes. You can click on there. Go to the website from there. Also, every week for the newsletter, Schwank Grills right at the top of the products support page. Click on that. It'll take you over to the website. Easy stuff. Multiple ways to get there. And all you have to do to save $150 is put in promo code BBQ Central. And now you have a live fire cooker the likes you probably have never experienced before in your life. This is real heat, folks. Let's go. schwankgrills.com, and we're back with Tim Clowers right after this. Stick around. We'll be right back.
You're listening to the BBQ Central Show. Broadcasting live from the BBQ Central Show studios in Cleveland, Ohio. You're listening to the BBQ Central Show. Once again, here's your host, Greg Rempe.
All right, welcome back. This portion of the show being brought to you by cookinpellets.com. You might be asking yourself, what's cookinpellets.com? It happens to be a website that not only manufactures, but sells the number one source of quality wood pellets for all your pellet-driven cookers. You can visit cookinpellets.com to not only look at all their cooking pellets, but you can also see what other products they offer. And once you've finalized in your sweet mind which pellets you would like and other products, do something that you would never imagine before in your life on internet landscape environments. You're going to go to a different website altogether. Could you buy from cookinpellets.com? Yes. Are the shipping rates that great? The owner of the company told me, look, Greg, can we sell out of cookinpellets.com? Yes, we do it a lot. But the shipping rates aren't that great. And Walmart and Lowe's and Amazon, we're vendors for them. Not sellers, but they actually have a vending relationship, which I am to understand is very hard to come by. It takes a lot of work, but Cooking Pellets was in there very early with a lot of these folks. So the owner himself says go to Lowe's.com or Walmart.com or Amazon.com and buy your pellets and buy whatever else cookinpellets.com sells as well. All from those bigger online retailers, same great stuff. And you will also get really great shipping rates, especially if you do a little apples to apples comparison on what you would get at the cookinpellets.com website. Longtime sponsor of the show, Chris Becker and the gang over at Cookin' Pellets. Now you're asking yourself, wow, that was some really insightful commentary on retail wood pellets. Are you stalling? Yes? Yeah? Yes. I think what's happened is this. Sound checking Tim Clowers last evening. Everything went well. Sure he'll be here any moment. He's from Tennessee. I'm going to re-ask that question if he shows back up. But what I think has happened is this. There's a part of Tennessee, I'm going to call it the western part of Tennessee, that's in the central time zone. So remember, while it is not readily apparent to folks across this great nation of ours that Ohio, generally speaking, not even generally speaking, Ohio is in its entirety is Eastern time. It's not Central time. You got to go to like Gary, Indiana, at least. Illinois is Central time zone. Evidently the western part of Tennessee, Central time zone. So when I'm talking times, I'm talking Eastern only. To me, there's only one time zone, it's Eastern. Everything else, who cares? Eastern time zone is the time zone of business people and the time zone that business is conducted. And if you're not operating on Eastern time zone, I don't know what else to tell you. But you got to make your own adjustments. So when I'm talking time, you have to know, even if you don't know, you must know that I'm talking about Eastern time zone. I think Tim Clowers is in the Central time zone. So when I'm talking to him about 9 o'clock, his 9 o'clock is an hour from now. He's sitting in the 8 o'clock time zone right now, the Central time zone, which is a shame because maybe he's off doing some type of culinary work or he's getting dinner ready or who knows what's going on. But I would hazard a guess that if he's not here in the next 5 minutes, he's not showing back up. And what's worse, although he will see the email that I sent during the break, but what's worse is that at my 10:14, he's going to be showing up in a different window. And then guess what? I'm going to ignore you. That's even worse. You're going to see all the show happening and you're going to wonder, this guy's not coming to me? No, I'm in the Eastern time zone. Oh, the heartache and the pain. But that's all right. What did we say 2 weeks ago that I caught incredible amounts of shit for? As a host, what mentality do we have? Trust nobody. Don't do it. Trust no one. And as Andrew Barnhart says in the chat, is there another time zone? There is not.
Andrew, you are
Not another time zone. It's only Eastern. But could you imagine living on Pacific time, or worse yet, and no offense to barbecue realtor to the stars, Lance Owen, who's on Hawaii time. Do you realize, I don't know if you do this, or I don't know if you do this, or if you knew this, you pick. Did you realize Hawaii, right now as we sit here in Eastern time zone, Hawaii is 6 hours behind Eastern time zone. It's 3:20. See how fast I did that math? It's 3:20 in the afternoon, where Lance is moving multi-million-dollar properties like Tom's Thumbs Blues. Do Hawaii realtors get paid 6.5% commissions? I've seen the listings that Lance has. I think Lance needs to sell about 4 houses a year to be a millionaire. Many times over. If I'm going to be a realtor, I'm moving out to Hawaii and I'm joining the Owen team, the Owen Realty team. I don't even know if that's a thing. Kona Realty, I think that's Lance's business. But everything over there is very high priced. Because, everything's got to get shipped in unless it's coconuts or whatever else they grow that's indigenous to Hawaii. Bananas? That's Peru, I think. I don't know. Anyway, I think Tim is out. We've vamped enough. And the good news is this. As I was mentioning on the way out, to go to Tim, which unfortunately doesn't look like it's going to happen. We were getting ready to talk about the event schedule for the 2024 Famous Dave's All-Star Barbecue Series. Again, almost half are full. Actually, more than half are full because it's 15 and 9 are completely full at this point. So a $100 registration fee secures your spot that is currently open. You get $1,000 if you win the whole thing. You get $400 if you reserve. You also have category payouts of $500, $400, $300, first, second, and third place. And again, you're cooking chicken ribs in a wild card. The wild card needs to be on a silver platter. So in a month from now, May 18th, Fresno, California is up for bid. There are openings there. In fact, let me click into Fresno, California, make sure that I'm not saying something incorrect here. 7 a.m. to 6 p.m., 11 hours. I did see a post where it said, I think the max, secure your spot today for this Famous Dave barbecue contest. Only 5 teams will be accepted. So if you want to be part of any of these events that are open, then you need to sign up ASAFP. You need to bone out 100 bones. You need to bone out $100 to secure your spot. And you can do that in Fresno. The same could not be said for an additional, and which looks like it would have been the first one on May 18th. There was another one added for May 18th, which is Fresno. Union Gap, Washington is full. And then the week after that, May 25th, you can participate in the one currently San Jose, California. That currently has space available. The following week, June 1st, Las Vegas, Nevada, currently has space available. June 8th, home of Smokin' Joe's Pit Barbecue, El Paso, Texas. That one's full. 12704 Montana Avenue, number 1/2. Joe, is that right? Number 1/2? Number 1/2? Weird. June 15th. You can see this if you're doing math. It's 1 week following the next in succession. Colorado Springs, Colorado, full. June 22nd, in a city they call Long Beach, full. June 29th, we keep going. The hits keep coming in. Williston, North Dakota has openings. So if you are in and around the greater Williston, North Dakota area, 1 of 5 spots is at least open. So $100 gets you that spot in Williston. In a previous life, when I worked for a private operator, a 50-passenger regional jet dweller, where by the end of that job, I wanted to kill myself. We ran business, energy. Williston was the airport out there, and we were taking very high-dollar, high-net-worth individuals' private jet into Williston. That thing was built like a brick shithouse. I don't know if you can say that for airports, but a well-funded and well-built airport, considering all the ones we were in and out of. A lot of the major ones that you would hear of. But Williston is June 29th, July 13th. Now, looks like they've taken the July 4th weekend off, or the July 4th week off, because we go from June 29th to then July 13th, which also happens to be a national holiday. The birthday of Willis is July 13th. You will find the famous Dave's All-Star Barbecue Series in Hermitage, Tennessee, full. The following week, July 20th, in one of my favorite cities ever, not my favorite, but one of my favorite, Louisville, Kentucky, full. July 27th, in the effervescent metropolis, Taylor, Michigan, full. The next one, if you can believe it or not, take it from me, I'm reading here. This is real official news release stuff. August 3rd, newly added. We're going back to one of the cities that I've already mentioned. Can you guess it? Can anybody guess it? I'll give you a minute. Oh, by the way, thanks to my pal Aaron Huntelman, CEO, president, and owner of Mr. Brisket, for the Thigh Life. You see here it says Mr. Brisket. You think it says, I don't know, Miller or whatever the hell it would say. Thigh Life. I'm thinking to myself, Whiskey Bent Barbecue back in the day was told by Brown Foreman they might want to change the logo of their shirt. Word to the wise, everybody. Big companies don't like it when you even potentially infringe. Nobody's got a guess on the previous city? Fine. Anyway, thanks to Aaron, owner, CEO, president of Mr. Brisket here in Cleveland, Ohio, for the Thigh Life. I would whip around and show you the logo on the back, but the logo, I mean, guys, that needs to change. Let's go. Go to Fiverr.com, go to logos.com, pay $100, get 40 different versions of a new Mr. Brisket logo. I know it's iconic here in Cleveland. Trust me, nobody's going to miss it. Update it. Again, word to the wise if you're listening. Anyway, August 3rd, we'll find a new All-Star Barbecue Series taking place in the great city of El Paso, Texas. Not one, but two. El Paso, Texas, quickly becoming the barbecue capital of Texas. Nobody even saw it coming, except for Smoking Joe's Pit Barbecue. In fact, he saw it so much, he closed and then decided to not close.
Andrew, you are
Not closing Smoking Joe's Pit Barbecue food truck. We're not doing it. We're keeping it open. We're going to do it. So August 3rd, El Paso, Texas, again in a location to be determined as of now. August 10th, going up to Minnetonka, Minnesota, where, if I'm not mistaken, is that the first Famous Dave's location in Minnesota? Like, I know Famous Dave is from Minnesota. He's got the Native American heritage and all that. We had talked about it when he was on the show once before he booted him off, before he ruined the whole Hall of Fame stuff. August 17th, Sioux City. Wait. Minnetonka, Minnesota, full. Sioux City, Iowa, full. August 17th. And rounding it out, August 24th, Columbia, Maryland, availability. Yes. So that's how it's laying out. You get 2 times in El Paso, June 8th. Again, June 8th is full, but if you miss that one, you can go 2 months later, August 3rd, and try your hand in El Paso, Texas. Again, location to be determined. Those are your schedule of events for now for the Famous Dave's All-Star Barbecue Series, brought to you by the folks over at Famous Dave's and the World Food Championships, which, again, has left Dallas and now has new home, Indianapolis, Indiana, November 8th through November 12th. And what did we say the last time we talked about that? It can either be 60 or 70 degrees November 8th through the 12th in Indianapolis, or it can literally be 6 or 7 degrees in Indianapolis November 8th through the 12th. I'm very excited because that's drivable distance for me. I have a feeling I might go for a day or two just to see the amount of majesty, pomp, circumstance, hijink, tomfoolery that happens at a World Food Championships. Maybe if I show up, Mike McLeod would hire me on the spot to run awards. I'm very well versed. I will be just coming off like my 6th or 7th MC at Hartville Hardware's Grill Fest in September. So I'll be primed. I will have potentially been a part of a world record barbecue class setup on that Friday leading into the Grill Fest. I'll have a lot of achievements under my belt at that point. So, if you have any further questions or you want to see the list, and I'll be bringing it up as things start to roll out here. We'll recap all those events like we did last year, top of the second hour. You can go to worldfoodchampionships.com/allstars. That's worldfoodchampionships.com/allstars, and you can see the entire list, what's open, what's not, and you can take it from there. I got an email from Peter, who contacted me through the Contact Us submission form on the Barbecue Central Show's main website, and he asked the following: did you stop uploading to YouTube Music? Google Podcast is no longer, and the latest podcast from you on YouTube Music is June 2023. Peter, you're 100% correct. There is... Oh, okay. Google Podcast is no longer, and that wasn't a joke. Like, they literally have shut down and they're gone. I did move my subscription because I subscribe to my own show on Google Podcast, and I used whatever exporting quick link that they gave me, and I agree with you. I go on to YouTube Music for podcast, and it doesn't show me anything recent. So my advice is don't use that as your podcast platform anymore. I would recommend one of the following instead. If you're an iPhone user, and I'm guessing you're not because you used Google Podcast, and if you're an iPhone, why would you use anything Google? It's sacrilege. If you're an iPhone user, Apple Podcasts, the native app. If you run iOS, that's the one you want to use. The show's there. It's updated. The whole 1,800 shows or whatever it is in the podcast feed. For Android folks like me, I enjoy Pocket Cast. You can also use Spotify or Podcast Addict or Podbean or Player FM. Use any one of those. They work great. They have the most up-to-date podcast feed that you can possibly get. And then you don't have to, worry about Google Podcasts, and you don't have to worry about YouTube Music, because I don't know if they have all their shit together when it's talking about podcasts and feeds and updating and getting all the latest ads, this and that. Well, look at me getting through a potentially terrible segment by just having things ready to go. We trust nobody. We're courageous on the show, and we trust nobody. Courageous, trust nobody. It's a t-shirt. I can tell you this, Wes Wright is ready to go. So before we get to him, we'll talk about our pals over at Pits and Spits. Ryan Zaboro and the gang, are you tired of settling for mediocre grilling experiences? Of course you are. It's time to step your game up.
Step your game up.
Let's bring the ultimate flavor and cooker to the backyard barbecues. Pits and Spits Charcoal Grills offering the highest quality live fire cooking experience you can get in the market today. Using either wood or charcoal, their solid fuel grills produce those classic flavors you're looking for when you have the time to fire up the grill and cook for family and friends. With a large adjustable fuel tray, you can raise and lower the fire to control and fine-tune the heat. They're taking the very popular Santa Maria-style grill. Check them out at this website, pitsandspits.com/BBQ Central. That's pitsandspits.com/BBQ Central. And as you're spelling it all out, remember it's the double T on the pits and the spits. And as you're checking out, you can use promo code Charcoal Central this time around for $150 off any charcoal grill. That's right. When you go to pitsandspits.com/BBQ Central, use promo code Charcoal Central, and you get $150 off any charcoal grill. That's also almost like free. We do know that Pits and Spits makes spectacular cooking equipment, and it will not only last your life, whoever you bequeath it to upon your dirt nap will probably have it for the balance of their life, if not their life, and then it's bequeathed again. It's a family heirloom. You ever see how these things are made? Go to pitsandspits.com, see the whole construction process, see the videos that they've been doing recently. You're going to be blown away by the quality. And you can save $150 off any charcoal grill right now with promo code BBQ Central, pitsandspits.com/BBQ Central. Wes Wright is next. Stick around.
You're listening to the Barbecue Central Show. Howard Stern, Jim Rome, Dan Patrick, and Greg Rempe. The Mountain Rushmore of talk show entertainment. Now, let's get back to the Barbecue Central Show.
Welcome back. This portion of the show being brought to you by Fireboard 2 Drive, which is what I use. You can monitor up to 6 different temperatures all at the same time. You can connect to Wi-Fi for cloud-based monitoring or via the Bluetooth. If you have a cornucopia of smart speakers in your home, even varying brands, you're in luck because Fireboard is fully integrated with almost all of them, if not all of them. You can find out more by visiting fireboard.com or call 816-945-2232. My next guest tonight runs cookoutnews.com's website and is the third Tuesday of the month regular guest here, 35 past the first hour segment. He's here to talk about the latest news in the live fire industry, and he is a Barbecue Central Show's Guest Hall of Fame nominee. We are happy to welcome back Wes Wright, back and better than ever. Wes, we do have a YouTube poll question of the week, and I always hate to preface a question that I spend a lot of time trying to craft, but I do have to preface this after seeing the first person to answer. So let's assume, Wes, whether you are or not, but let's assume you are not a member of the AmazingRibs.com Pitmaster Club. That's the preface. Here's the question of the week. Does the acquisition of Barbecue Stars by AmazingRibs.com make you want to become a Pitmaster Club member, yes or no?
I'd say, yeah, it's more, more value for your membership and it's added content. Who doesn't love that?
63% of the YouTube voting public is saying, no, it's not pushing them over the edge. I have asked after the fact, because we got way into the voting before I realized folly on my end, that if they voted, please make some type of a note that if you are a member, that should not mean that you are automatically voting no because you're a member, but who knows? Voting's probably skewed, just another voting mishap here in the United States of America, but somehow we will persevere. Grilling season is coming up, but before we talk about brands we should know that we probably don't know too much about, you're the business guy. You love mergers and acquisitions and this. Do you have any thoughts on Amazing Ribs and Barbecue Stars doing a deal?
I think it's interesting. You know, I saw your clips on it, and I'm partway through listening to the segment, but yeah, I'm curious to see how it goes. I think that it adds a lot of value, and it is helpful for Amazing Ribs. So I think it's cool to see.
Do you think there's any business or money being left on the table the way they're rolling it out? Let me ask a better question. If you had just acquired Barbecue Stars and you had a similar platform to what Meathead's running right now, how would you offer it up, or how would you roll it out?
Yeah, that's hard to answer.
I don't think it's hard to answer at all.
What's your answer?
I told Meathead, I think what you should do is you send an email out to all the people that originally had bought the lifetime membership, whatever that means, and say, hey, ownership has taken place, and for a mere $35 a year, you can continue to have access to all of these videos that you bought under the old ownership, and you get all this other great value. You get access to the forum and ebooks and all this other stuff that the Pitmasters Club is known for. And don't even acquiesce, be the bigger person and say, okay, all 1,500 people that have this access, we're just going to let you in. We're going to open up the door. I think there's a missed opportunity there for not only adding potential Pit Club membership numbers in a raw sense, but also gaining a little bit of revenue. I mean, who doesn't want a little bit of extra revenue if you can get it? And it's really not in a dick way. He's the new owner.
Yeah, I was thinking meaning like consolidating the brands themselves, but because that's harder. But or you could offer, say this is a one-time offer that you'll never see again. Jump on this to get access, and that way it seems like a win for them, but also you're winning because you're gaining subscribers and revenue on that perspective.
How much would you pay for all those videos if you were going to buy them?
How many are there? I don't remember.
It was over 100 total, I believe.
Okay.
120 videos. I'm looking at my notes from last week.
And what is it, 250,000 subscribers or something like that?
For Meathead, I think it's like little less than 16,000.
Oh, I thought I'm thinking of. I saw a number on the other platform.
1,500 total subscribers.
Oh, okay, yeah. I would just do the math on what that subscriber values per member is worth, and therein lies your, to me the value, and then you throw a little on top for the brand itself. A little blue sky there.
Grilling season is coming, or maybe it's here. So I thought last month it would be fun to talk about brands who are great or that are great that no one really knows about, or the ones that should at least be considering or should be on top ahead as they start to make their purchases this season. So we kind of fashioned a list. Who's first, and it's in no particular order, just brands that we thought maybe people didn't really know about that we think are pretty decent they should consider. So who's first on the list that you want to tell us about?
This is one that I'm sure your listeners know all about, and especially anybody that's, goes to SCA events. But PK Grills to me is one that, the mainstream public doesn't know about. But at the same time, I did a review of a PK Go, which is their smallest model, and their cheapest model by far. I get more emails about that grill saying, thanks for the review and recommending it, I love it, than any other grill on my site.
Really?
Yeah, it's surprising. I just randomly get them that they just tell me how much they love that grill. I feel the same way. If I want to, cook something quick, I use it. And PK Grills, they make quality products. They're pricey for some, but they're also fantastic quality.
Everything is cast aluminum in the line?
Yeah, even the little one that I have, it's cast aluminum, so it heats up quick, gets really hot. So for cooking dinner, it's great. It's super quick, and you get grilling with charcoal.
Who's next?
one that we've talked about extensively, Broil King, I say, is one.
Yeah. So I feel like maybe even in our subculture, the name for some, like, so there's like us, like we know Broil King, we know a lot about the story. I know them way more intimately than I thought I was ever going to get to know them. And then I feel that there's perhaps an equal portion of folks where there might be a little bit, oh, I've heard the name. And then it immediately falls off after that. They have no idea about build quality. They have no idea about their real effort to minimize Chinese content on their grills, North American manufactured, everything that makes you want to feel good about a grill company, Broil King embodies. And I just feel that even a lot of the intermediate, especially new, they have no idea about the brand name and they have no idea where they would even buy it.
Yeah, I don't think that does Broil King do any real marketing? Because I don't see it.
Well,
Unless
you cover
go to a
the
dealer.
industry. Did you know that they unveiled some new grilling tech over the last month where they were doing some Instagram releases and a lot of fancy video? Didn't really go into a lot of detail on what it was, but it appeared to be a new controller, or maybe it was a new grill, or maybe it was a new controller for a new grill. Other than that, I mean, that was the first bit of promo for anything I've seen in a long time that was new.
Yeah, and that's, Instagram videos on there. I'm guessing you're talking about the IQ.
Yes, the IQ,
gas grill.
yes.
Yeah, they that's you're mostly playing to your subscribers, right? It's hard to build an audience there. So that's not even like, the kind of marketing, they're not externally marketing to new audiences or trying to tell people about, why their products are great. So unless you go into a grill store and there happens to be one on the floor, you're not going to know about it. And I do think just in general, people that aren't too familiar with grills, they hear broil and they probably get confused with the charbroil, to be honest with you. Like, it's a naming thing.
There's a brand called Monument that I'm seeing more in, is it Lowe's? Do they have a Lowe's
I think you saw it at
sell
Home
relationship?
Depot.
Home Depot?
Yeah.
Good? Like, is this a brand we want to know about?
Yeah, they've sent me some product. I'm actually testing their Mesa in 2 sizes right now, and I had what was it, Denali last year, another gas grill, a 4-burner. I think they're a good that mid price point of, for a 4-burner, you can probably get one for, $400 to $700 depending on what features you get. And it's worked pretty well for me. I don't have any major complaints on the brand. To me, it's worth checking out, because within that segment, they're and two, they came out with a grill that I just wrote about, that their top of the line Denali, the 605 Pro, that they have an infrared burner, a ceramic infrared burner on the inside and a ceramic burner on the side, and it was pretty reasonably priced. So you get a lot of free features for your money.
One of the other brands, aside from Broil King, that I think a lot of the subculture folks know about, but maybe not the periphery, is Napoleon. Why do we like Napoleon?
Yeah, Napoleon, they have a lot of good features. They've been on infrared for a long time. And another one like Broil King that sells pretty exclusively through small independent grill stores. And they make quality products. I just actually recommended one to my neighbor and he went out and got one. They make, solid products. They like Broil King, they don't market a whole lot either. I think they rely on their dealer network to do that for them. But yeah, it's they're a little more expensive though too than what you'd buy, at like a traditional mass market grill.
We've talked about Next Grill on the show small handful of times. Do we want to stick Next Grill in this category as well? Obviously a different build and price point.
Yeah, what's nice about Next Grill, and I've been happy with a pellet grill that I have of theirs. they make, the super cheap model that, is $100 in front of Home Depot that you just buy and use for a season and throw away. But also they have other ones that are a little more upmarket that, are pretty solid products, and they have competitive features of what's out there. They have connected gas grill, if that's what you're into. They have a lot of good value like that. They're kind of, I kind of put them in a category with Monument, to be honest, of that, value where they offer you a lot of features for not a lot of money. So, I think people will be happy with them.
Wes Wright is joining us here on the show. So if you were looking for some brands that maybe you weren't familiar with, you're getting some information here. So ones that we think that you should know about and why you might want to consider them for purchase. Let's catch up a little bit on this Sear grill. So we talked about after CES, they've continued their startup journey and were named as a top innovator at Venture Summit West. And for those who don't know, that's an event that connects early stage startups looking for funding with investors. There was also a presenter at the event they were also a presenter. As we sit here in mid-April 2024, percent chance you think that this unit is actually going to be mass produced and then sent into the market for purchase within the next 24 months or less?
I think I'd have to put a qualifier on mass produced. I think they'll produce some units, but I don't know about mass produced. It's an expensive grill at $3,000. I think it's about that. And plus just the startup journey is, you need a lot of funding. Any type of thing that's mechanical rather than like a software that you're developing, it's really intensive because you need tooling, you need inventory, you need all that. So it's a hard hurdle to get over.
Is there a chance that this thing actually never really sees the market at all? Could it be the meter of grills potentially?
I think it'll get out there in some regard. If I were them, and I almost wrote this in my article, but I didn't. And if I was doing like a business strategy for them, what I would consider is looking at the commercial market. Is for restaurants that are looking that they cook steaks all day long and need them done perfectly. Why not have something, for like Middleby, their commercial division, or other companies like that. If you can cook a steak in 3 minutes perfectly done, and you can do that with a larger unit or one, just one that's easy to use in that environment because you need a lot more durability for that. I would look at that because that's a lot bigger market size than people that are looking for, a $3,000 machine that'll cook steaks for you. Right. So if I was doing the business for them, that's where I would focus. And then on the periphery, just also have a consumer market.
One of the most upscale manufacturers of live fire cookers, is a company called Kalamazoo, introduced both a standalone gravity feed smoker, also one that fits under the counter for those that do the outdoor kitchen setup type of deal. What can you tell us about that cooker?
Yeah, I think that's kind of cool. It's it's obviously extremely expensive because of the name Kalamazoo, but it's like taking a master built gravity series, making it look really nice with stainless steel, and then putting in it as a cabinet smoker in your outdoor kitchen. One side's a hopper, the other is, like a commercial smoker where you have 3 racks you can put in, and you set the temperature and it does it for you. So that way you have a really nice looking outdoor kitchen. And for people that don't like smokers for whatever reason, then the look of them, you have an option.
I noticed it did also come with a Barbecue Guru DigiQ DX3. So not the latest and greatest pit controller, but if you're somebody that really wants to dial in the temperature, it doesn't even look like you have a choice. It's coming with it.
Yeah. I mean, I guess for $16,000, you don't get the latest and greatest, but you'll have to do.
Any idea numbers wise, what we're looking at from a price point?
I was thinking about that. Or for a price point, I think it's $16,000 for the the under the counter, and if you want it on casters, it's another $3,000 on top of that. So, you're pushing 20.
Wow. Sales figure wise, it just seems like these things are incredibly priced. They must not build to move units. Is it almost like custom, do you think?
Yeah, it says they're all hand built in probably, I think, Kalamazoo, Michigan. Shout out to Michigan companies. Even though they were bought by an investment firm a few years ago and they're based in Chicago. But I bet you they probably do this. I have no information on this, but I'm guessing, high seven figures is where I'd put it in terms of revenue. I worked for an investment firm one time and we owned a company that did like high-end Jeep conversions and stuff like that. They were like top of the line Jeep conversions. They even sold through dealers. And we were like mid 8 figures revenue wise, but that's also a bigger market. But when you're in that market, it's the idea that you don't sell a ton of product, but what you do, you make a ton of margin on it, right? So you're selling quality and exclusivity. So you don't get a lot of top line, but almost, 30% probably flows down to your net income.
Last question before I let you go this evening. Always appreciate the time. Best steak experience, St. Elmo or Weber Restaurant?
That one's easy. That's St. Elmo's.
Oh, okay. You never know. Everybody's got different choice. I mean, what kind of shirt are you wearing?
I wore this just for you.
What
Look
is
at
it?
that.
Pits and Spits? What?
They sent me a care package, and so I was like, I'm going to wear this shirt on Greg's show. It's the loudest shirt I've ever worn in my life. Yeah.
The hell? Did I not get one?
I don't know. You didn't make the list. But they also sent me a great steak rub that I tried over the weekend. That was pretty phenomenal.
I don't.
Looking
to see if I had like
this?
I don't know. It's a collared shirt. I mean, it looks like that would be. Oh, that's mine. They sent it to Wes on accident. Yeah, that seems like something I would wear around the grill. It's got some good branding on it, good color. I like it. Yeah, I would wear that in a heartbeat. Send it over to me.
They also sent me a burger press that could be used as a weapon. The thing is beefy.
Really?
Yeah, it's like, one for making like smash burgers. It's heavy.
All right. Well, if you're not reading Wes, you should start immediately. Cookoutnews.com is the place to go. Visit multiple times a week, and then you can get all the highline, most important coverage right here on the third Tuesday of every month, 35 past the first hour. Wes, always appreciate the time, and we will see you in May.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks for having me, Greg.
That's right. I got to look through my email. I'm not saying that Wes isn't more deserved than me to get this, but we've had a long relationship with Pits and Spits. I want one of those crazy shirts. I love crazy shirts. I mean, look at this. I'm wearing a Thigh Life shirt, for crying out loud. You know I'm going to wear the Pits and Spits shirt for sure. Yeah, all right. We can do that. Primo Grills is selling only the best ceramic cooker out there on the market. Why is it the best? Because it's oval. You can do 2-zone fire. You can push all the coals over to one side. You can have a completely open right side or left side, depending on what you like. You can put in your diverter plates at that point. It's all great stuff. And when the ceramics get hot, the thing's a fuel miser. It's sold through dealers only. PrimoGrill.com. That's PrimoGrill.com. All the accessories you want. Multiple different sizes of ovals. So don't cheat yourself. Get out there now and pick up the best, the Primo Grill. And then all the accessories too. And don't forget a cover. Follow them on social media. And we should soon have Nick Bauer on the show to talk about the XXL. Stick around. We'll be right back.
Continuing to produce incredibly mediocre content in an exceptionally professional way. You're listening and watching the Barbecue Central Show. Once again, here's your host, Greg Rempe.
And we thank Wes Wright for joining us last segment. Again, his website is cookoutnews.com. We're ready to go for the second hour, so stick around for that. Refresh your libations, and we'll see you on the other side. You're listening to Washington Barbecue Central Show right here on Barbecue Central Network.
Hey, what's up? This is JM, host of the Celebrity Grill podcast on iTunes. and you're listening to the Barbecue Central Radio Network. All barbecue and grilling, all the time.
Happy to have you aboard here for the Really Big Barbecue Show.
Boing. We cook because we have to, and we grill because we want to.
Hit me!
Fine, how you doing?
You have a great show. I'm a big fan.
Boing.
So what seems to be the problem here? This man looks like he's dead and he's in the crackle. Charbono! It's all about the charbono, dude!
Succulent fish. What?
He ate 54 wieners.
Oh, listen, Lavernius, shut your face.
I'm shaking like a dog shit peach seeds.
We have top men working on it right now. Top men.
Hey, just like that, we are into the second hour, Barbecue Central show. Well, that's not right. That's right. We, on this show, talk about the most important things that are happening in the world of barbecue and grilling. The show originating from
Palm City, USA, Cleveland.
Still to come on this very show this evening, Jess Pryles, hardcorecarnivore.com, jesspryles.com. Closing out the show, Matt Osmond, official Tennessee embedded correspondent. We say good evening to those of you watching tonight through our video streaming platforms like facebook.com/BBQ Central Show or twitter.com/BBQ Central Show or youtube.com/@BBQ Central Show. And we have a new YouTube poll question of the week. And we're prefacing this by saying, if you are a member, answer as if you were not a member, if you can do that. Does the acquisition of Barbecue Stars by AmazingRibs.com make you want to become a Pitmaster Club member? And currently 63% of you now are saying no. It is trending more into the yes, but it's almost doubled up on the amount of folks that are no's to yeses, and we'll continue to track that through the second hour. Coming up on the best moments of the Barbecue Central show in 10 minutes or less this coming Friday, episode 330, taking you back to April 8th of 2008. It has become increasingly apparent to me that since the full live show archives have been reconnected, when I hired my oldest Bobby at the end of the year last year to go back through I don't even remember how I found it out, but when I started tracking back through all of those archived shows, they were showing up in the feed, but when you hit play, nothing happened. And then through further digging, realized that indeed there were no files attached to the shows that were showing up in the podcast feed. So she spent the better part of a week reconnecting all of those shows. And now that John has his hands on the full live show archive, he's been diving back into the old shows in a major way. A lot of the past best of shows coming from the 2008 category and early in 2008 at that, the live show only being months old at this point. We started February 8th of 2008, so this particular one is 2 months old to the day, actually. This week, you will find your humble host being featured as I do a bit on barbecue being a sport, which I listened to earlier last week. And I have to say, 17 years later, I still agree with my take on this whole thing. I'm not going to spoil it here like I normally would. So I hope you take in the Best Moment show this coming Friday. I hope you enjoy the new show that's coming up. And then you give me your thought. Am I correct? Am I not correct? As I talk about barbecue being a sport. You can subscribe to the show by visiting thebbqcentralshow.com/subscribe. There's a number of different ways to subscribe to the show there. As I'm saying it out loud, I believe I'm going to have to get in contact with website support gurus and have them take the Google Podcast icon off and replace it with something else. But you do need to be subscribed to the show podcast feed in order to get the best of show. And then when you do that, you will also get the replays of hour number 1 and hour number 2 of the show, which you get on Wednesdays and Thursdays, respectively. Don't forget, if you want to hear a guest or segment again that you think has been lost in the archives, email John. Let him know you'd like to hear. That email is John, Jon, at thebbqcentralshow.com. And he will do his best to meet your expectation. I'm just seeing this comment now, but look who's rolling in after what I would say is a long hiatus, or at least seeing her in the comments, is Diane Me, a competition barbecuer, somebody who has won grand championships, somebody who has been interviewed on the show after winning said grand championships. And then, what do we know about Diane Me? Famous for self-banning herself from the show. As I was getting the horse meat movement going back in the day, the original horse meat movement, while we have not necessarily wavered off of that, it certainly hasn't been as vocal, but we're really working back channels at this point. We put it out there bombastically enough for years with the T-shirts, and Diane said, I can't. I have to self-ban myself from the show because you're talking about horse meat. First person that I know of that actively has self-banned from the show. So I think, if I'm not mistaken, you know what? Let's go back. Not let's go back, but let's go to the website. Let's go to Barbecue Hall of Fame. Let's go all the way down to an inaugural class. And let me make sure that I'm not... Here we go. In the inaugural Barbecue Hall of Fame, Guest Hall of Fame class, do you know who's in there? Diane Me. In the inaugural Barbecue Central Show's Guest Hall of Fame class of 2018, Diane Me, and then in quotations, boycotting the show for horse meat 2018. You see? She was a guest one time on the show. That's all it takes to qualify for being considered for the Guest Hall of Fame. And just like that, Diane Me is in the inaugural class. And by the way, in no particular order, the same class had the likes of Ronnie Lott, Myron Mixon, Travis Clark, Aaron Franklin, Dave Close, Ed Gash, Jeff Staney, Andy Staples, Harry the Horse racing expert, Ben Lang, Mike Lang, Clarence Joseph, the list goes on. We had a very big inaugural class, and that was done on purpose. So anyway, let me get back to it. Make sure that you are subscribed to the show for full podcast experience. If you follow me on social, you know I did the Chunk Foods steak review. And I say steak in quotation marks because it was not real meat steak. This was plant-based steak. First of all, you will hear a show with Chunk Foods CEO early June. When I'm out of the country, I'm going to the Bahamas. Now get off my back. That'll June 3rd, whatever that Tuesday is, that first Tuesday in June. So you will hear a bunch of new content. It will not be live. So unlike all the other weeks of this show that is live, it will not be live. So in fact, we'll not do it live. We'll not do it live. There will be new content. I was sent steak cuts and some pulled product. I have not tried the pulled product yet, but this past weekend I did the steak cut product. So you have to thaw it. Shows up frozen in vacuum packaging. They were looked to be 6-7 ounce in weight. Seasoned it up after I got it thawed with St. Elmo's steak seasoning, which I bought on my own. Fired the Primo up to 225 for reverse sear. Took it to 115 degrees internal. Then I took it off. Got the Primo super hot to do the sear part of the reverse sear. And then took it to about 130 degrees internal, flipping every 45 seconds. No real rest. I just got it inside, set the camera up to take some pictures and slice for social media. and away we went to eating. So if you happen to miss the story, I'm sure it's off, but I'm happy to share pictures. There is something that I'm not good at when it comes to this plant-based stuff, and that's making sure my expectations are adjusted properly. I want it to be like a complete steak experience, but how can it be? And to be fair to Chunk, it's not billing it. It's not.
Andrew, you are
not billing yourself as 100% steak. They're not billing it as 100% steak-like experience. But in my head, I want it to be. Is the finished product overly appealing from an aesthetic standpoint? It's not terrible. It's better than most, for sure. The biggest wins for me, it juices. That was shocking. When I cut it and showed the profile, there appeared to be meat fibers in the product. So from an internal shot, aesthetically speaking, I don't know if there's a better product out there on the market right now when it comes to plant-based. Taste-wise, brings me back to the opening statement here. It's my fault. I see something that is so close to real steak, like a filet mignon. So when I took the first bite, it was a little jarring because I was expecting beef flavors and textures. It does fall short of that, and it should, because it's not beef. And again, they aren't telling me that you won't be able to tell the difference or anything like that, but my mind wants me to believe it will be like a complete real steak experience. So it's all on me. Here's what I'm able to report. Texture, chew. A bit more chewy than I like, not total rubber bandy, but a little bit like that. Flavor-wise, the first thing that popped into my head was mushrooms. By the way, I'm a big mushroom guy. So my overall taste, texture impression would be that I took a portobello, made it into a filet cut, and then the taste profile of a grilled mushroom with steak seasoning on it, which to me isn't that bad in a vacuum. But the bottom line is this: don't ask me where you can try it. Actually, you can. It was, oh, crap. I have it. So there's somewhere you can go. I want to say it's like a Websteranti or something like that. I believe Barbecue Supply. Here's the deal. If you're interested, please email me so I don't give you nonsense here on the show right now, and I'll give you the exact information where you can try it. It's mostly commercially available for steakhouses that want to have a non-meat option that looks and feels almost like steak. So if you want a meat experience, but you don't want the meat, in my opinion, probably one of the best options out there for sure. I don't have a cost, but I assume it would be similar to what a prime beef would cost, or at least in that neighborhood. And you'll get a lot more info on this, again, the first Tuesday in June, when the interview with the CEO and founder of Chunk Foods actually hits the podcast feed. So be on the lookout for that. And if you want the pictures and the videos, I have all of that, but they were since evaporated off of my Instagram story because that stuff only lasts for 24 hours. Jess Pryles is in the green room, and we're going to talk to her here in just 1 second. Before we do that, Franklin barbecue pits. So first and foremost, aside from talking about these great offset cookers, we are currently lining up Aaron Franklin for yet another interview here on this show because we get top talent. Made of 1/4-inch thick American-made steel. It's strong. Anything that sees heat, engineered to be incredibly solid. Should last at least a century or more. That's 100 years if you can count, if it's cared for properly. And if it's not cared for properly, I'm going to go out on a limb and say it might last 100 years. You might need a little Earl or something to loosen the hinges, but I think it's going to work. Professional grade heat retention. That's right. It's a critical component to making great barbecue. Every Franklin pit is unique unto itself. That includes their own natural markings and its own badge number. Franklin pits can be found at fine barbecue specialty stores in select regions of the country. If you, the listener, are an owner of a store and you wish to become a certified Franklin dealer, visit franklinbbqpits.com and fill out the dealer form. We're almost into the official grilling season, which is every day. But we're almost there. So if you have one of these supply stores, you don't have any offset pits, and you want to carry one of the premier brands by one of the premier pit makers, go to franklinbbqpits.com, fill out the dealer form, then have a conversation with Matt Gase, and away you go. If you, the listener, want to own a Franklin barbecue pit, and you're not in that part of the country that has a certified dealer nearby, you can also visit franklinbbqpits.com, and you can purchase a pit right on the website. It ships right to the bottom of your driveway, and then you just pick a place to let it live, and away you go. Super easy to use. I'm getting information from real-time customers who have a number of cooks underneath their belt, and they're all singing the praises. Not as hard as I thought it was going to be. This thing really does what it said it was going to do. Yeah, I mean, for the price it should. And lucky to see, or happy to see, that it's performing well. Again, franklinbbqpits.com if you want to become a certified dealer because you have a business, or if you're a consumer that isn't near a certified dealer, you just want to buy one. We're back with Jess Pryles after this, and we're going to be talking about a salacious subject that you won't want to miss. Stick around. Be right back.
You're listening to the Barbecue Central Show. Howard Stern, Jim Rome, Dan Patrick, and Greg Rempe. The Mountain Rushmore of talk show entertainment. Now, let's get back to the Barbecue Central Show.
Hey, this portion is brought to you by Pit Barrel Cooker, the most unbelievable outdoor cooking device on the planet when it comes to barrels, available in 3 different sizes, a host of accessories. Professional, beginner, doesn't matter. You go to pitbarrelcooker.com and tell them the Barbecue Central Show sent you and get cooking on the upright barrels. Joining me in her quarterly segment is the CEO of the Hardcore Carnivore brand, a creator of recipes on the daily, and she has a website called hardcorecarnivore.com where you can get gear, or jesspryles.com where you can get the aforementioned recipes. She is a Barbecue Central Show's guest Hall of Famer and a winner more than loser in music game shows as of late. It's Jess Pryles here on the show. Jess, we have a YouTube poll question of the week that we're asking everybody, and it's
tremendous.
Does the acquisition of Barbecue Stars, which is a website that had a bunch of instructional videos back in the day, by AmazingRibs.com, make you want to become a Pitmasters Club member? Yes or no?
Yes.
Right. Believe it or not, you're in the minority. 38% of folks agreeing with you on the YouTube poll, and 62% of people saying, even so, it's not pushing them over the edge to become a Pitmasters Club member over at AmazingRibs.com.
I'm going to be honest now. I feel more that Meathead deserves recognition for what he's done for the industry and what he's built. And I think it's, as someone who's becoming the older side of social media, it is difficult. So, if he thought that was the right move for his business, like, rock and roll.
Are we ready to talk some live fire tonight?
I can't wait, frankly.
Right. Okay.
I don't know how you feel about it, but I've been looking forward to this all week.
Really?
Truly.
It's only Tuesday.
Yeah, but the week feels so much longer, doesn't it?
Yeah, and before we get going tonight, a belated happy birthday wish to you. Best thing about your birthday was?
I got a little pink princess crown that some little girls that I'm friends with their parents gave me, and I wore it all day driving down 35 with my little sparkly princess crown.
You're the queen.
And yeah, it was cute.
What's the current lineup of cookers at the Pryles household at the moment?
Right now I've got Pits and Spits pellet, Pits and Spits offset, PK 300, PK 360. Mm-hmm. I've got a custom Pits and Spits fire table that they sort of built for me. And that's those. I've got a hasty bake that doesn't get a whole lot of use, but I like knowing it's there in case I need it. Yeah. That's the majority of it.
Which ones do you use the most? I mean, obviously, when you have a collection of curated cookers and you are who you are, you probably have specific uses for whatever the recipe or whatever your cooking calls for. But what are you using the most?
The PK360 and the pellet grill, for sure. Yes. Ease of use, for sure. I feel like I had this conversation the other day, and it's like, I know how to cook on an offset, and I've proven that to myself. And I do believe that they produce the best Texas-style barbecue, if that's what you're looking for. But a lot of it is also the challenge. So now that I've accepted that I can master and, step up to the challenge, I'm looking for simplicity, or at least taking out the complication of running the pit at the same time as making sure all the meat is functioning at its best.
Mm-hmm.
Shall we say it that way?
Let's exercise your meat science skills for a few moments, if you don't mind.
Let's.
I've recently seen two different things making the rounds again on social media, and let's take them independently. And by the way, I was saying in the open, and it seemed very dramatic when I say things like it's I'm losing the words for the first time in my life. It is something that is a divider of generations. It's something that could be racially charged. It's it's a whole thing. Okay. Why?
It's divisive. It's divisive.
Yes, or divisive if you're from England. Why would I want to rinse my steak under the sink before I start trimming and seasoning them?
And this is, I thought you were going with chicken, but you're talking about steak.
We're taking them independently.
Okay. All right. My bad. I don't know why you would want to. I respect your right to, but doesn't mean that I agree with you or want to eat at your house. So two aspects here. One is the cooking aspect, not the science aspect. The cooking aspect actually says that the presence of moisture on the surface is detrimental to a steak cook. That's the thing that prohibits the Maillard reaction from occurring. That's the reason that people dry brine in their fridge, really dry out that surface. That's the reason dry-aged steaks get such a great crust. So to introduce moisture unnecessarily just seems sad. Just sad. Unnecessary. It's nearly like an act of aggression, maybe I would say, if we're talking about steak. I have to be careful with chicken.
When we look at steak specifically here, is this a learned behavior from somebody in your house? Or maybe you're not a grill master, you're over at somebody else's house who's preparing steak and you see them running their cuts of steak underneath the sink to rinse off the blood. And now you get home, you're inspired to become your own grill master. So you saw Tim do it, and now you're going to do it. How do you see it continuing to perpetuate? Yeah, damn Tim.
Oh, it's always Tim.
Always.
Jeez. Okay, so for the steak thing, I think it is, and I think a lot of us start in this place. If you don't know, you don't know. I knew a fraction of what I know now about meat and the meat industry and meat processing. And I think that it's reasonable for somebody who doesn't understand how meat is cut, where it comes from, the fact that there's no bacteria on the surface of a freshly cut steak because it just got steak from an effectively sterile muscle, that if you meant to rinse your vegetables and your fruit, then why wouldn't you do the same for your meat? Like, I can see a natural extension there, especially if sometimes it's got a lot of sticky proteins on the outside. Maybe it's been sitting in the vacuum seal or sitting in your fridge and it's got that lovely slime layer on it, which is, again, just those sticky proteins. And you just think that that's the best way to get rid of it. So I could see how people get into the habit, but where I draw the line is if you hear information that tells you why you shouldn't be doing it, both from a cooking standpoint and also that it's unnecessary from a health or safety standpoint, then you have no reason to keep doing it after that.
You're just choosing to do it because you want to do it.
Yes, because you're insolent at this point.
That's one of my favorite words. Why would I want to rinse or even wash my chicken before I start the prep and seasoning process?
Why do you insist on raising my blood pressure this late at night?
Because I'm insolent.
So here's the thing. We know, and let's be frank, not Tim, that the washing chicken phenomenon is rooted in a lot of different cultural and racial diversity. So it becomes an even more sensitive topic.
Yep.
It started way back when certain racial, cultural, and socioeconomic groups had access to poorer quality meats that may have also been on the verge of spoiling, and therefore they had to take more evasive action with their foods to help the flavor more so than the cleanliness. Like if you've got meat that's on the cusp of turning and you apply something like a vinegar or a lemon that might sort of mask those off rancid, oxidative rancidity flavors, then, you're trying to find the best way to make something bad taste good. Over the years, that has developed, and especially remembering that a lot of the washing of the chicken thing starts in countries like Jamaica, and they have a very different food system to what we do. And it, the product doesn't come to them in the grocery store necessarily with the same level of cleanliness. And so an extra step is taken in the home of a lot of Jamaican homes. Let me tell you this. Now that I've done the PC thing, here's the thing. A lot of people choose to wash their chicken, and when they wash it, they usually wash it with lemon and vinegar. There are studies that have been done. The reason that you don't need to do that, of course, is that heat is the thing that is sterilizing the chicken. The USDA recommends that you not wash the chicken. You're actually more likely to spread salmonella around your kitchen through micro droplets of water hitting the chicken when you should just pat it with a paper towel. There are actual studies done that show that the addition of vinegar and lemon do not lessen the amount of salmonella in the chicken or in the water that it has been washed in. So it is a completely redundant step. Now, if someone wants to keep doing that step after that point, go for it. I'm not paying for the vinegar, I'm not paying for the lemon, and I'm not paying for your time. Where I draw the line is telling other people that they are dirty for not washing their chicken, which happens, as you know, all the time.
It's amazing to so I feel like when people post this, and it's always a right or wrong answer. It's never a post of, do you wash your chicken? Let's discuss civilly, and we'll all respect each other's opinions. Who's ever asking is on one side of the fence or the other. And then you can see the echo chamber below. And if you go against whatever the guy's real opinion or gal's real opinion is, you get blasted like crazy. And my only interest in asking about this is, especially with the chicken, like the steak, whatever. Again, I'm with you. I want dry everything. So even if I was going to rinse it under the sink, I would immediately hammer it with paper towels and probably put it into the refrigerator for a while to make sure that it's super dry. But the chicken, there just seems to be an incredible amount of elaborate processes that you were just talking about, lemons, limes, salt rubs, and sometimes a little bleach in the water to take care of it. And what you're saying is, even after doing all of that, the studies show that what you're doing isn't actually achieving what you're hoping it's doing. And in fact, it's doing nothing other than costing you money and time.
Yep. There's an actual published paper on this. Sometimes, Greg, I feel like if opinions weren't free, there would be a lot more common sense. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I have a video to show you.
Ooh. Oh, visual clue.
Yes. And I got to find where my display is.
Terribly excited about this.
I don't So you don't need to hear. I think you probably have seen this before. Let me make sure that as I cue this up. Okay, good. Here we have this lady, Dr. Pimple Popper. She's one of my favorite TV shows because she's always popping shit on people, and it's lipomas and all this cysts. Get the sack out.
You gotta love a fatty lipoma.
No doubt.
I hear ya.
Here we have a doctor, a dermatologist, who is commenting on a pork butt. And if you haven't seen this, it's fairly shocking. I'm not going to say avert your eyes for the young or anything like that, but I want to get your opinion on what's happening as it's happening and why I should or should not be concerned about it. And here we go.
Mm-hmm.
So
here we go.
He's stabbing, and then all of a sudden he's going to push down.
Yep.
So is that a cyst in the pork butt? Or is that a lipoma in the pork butt? Or is that unhealthy by all in any regard, and that pork butt was thrown out so nobody ever got it? What's the deal?
That is an abscess. That is an abscess that occurs in animals. It occurs in us too if we have internal injuries, and it can lead to abscesses. You hear them often in terms of getting an abscess in your mouth that needs to be drained. It's the same thing. It's impossible to check on a intramuscular level. We don't have x-rays on the meat. So we have certain checks on the carcass as it's processed to check for overall health. They check for the liver, they check for flukes in the heart, they check the brain for overall health of the animal and general signs. But there's no way that you can know at processing that like that pork butt had an abscess in it. So the rest of the meat is safe to eat. You should not once you squeeze all the abscess candy on it, but if you cut that away, you can eat the rest of the meat. It's not cancer. It's just an abscess. It happens.
You want to play?
They're not widgets. They're animals. Oh, yeah. Is it that time already?
It's that time. You want to play?
I very much do. Yes. You better not let me down this week because Silverchair was like whatever.
It wasn't Silverchair last quarter.
It was Silverchair recently.
No, it was Def Leppard last time. What are you talking about?
Yeah, but it was Silverchair like the one before that.
Like a year ago. All right, never mind.
Whatever.
Want to play this goddamn game or not? It's
yeah,
called.
Tim, I do.
Between the Two. That's what we're calling it from now on. We're getting t-shirts made.
Can you call it Betwixt the Two?
Betwixt the Two. We're getting t-shirts made. Hashtag Betwixt the Two. We're trying to trend on social media. Before we get to the game, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Hi, I'm Jess Pryles, one of the newest American citizens, originally from Australia. Now living in Austin, Texas. Got a company called Hardcore Carnivore. We make cool shit to put on meat. You guys should try it. And I post a lot of stuff online, so you should follow me too. I
forgot. You are a new American citizen. I mean, look at you.
I am.
You and Sam the cooking guy within 6 months of each other are the latest American citizens. So Sam from like the west side of Canada, and you originally from down under. Now we're both Americans, so you can hate everybody else freely, just like we do here originally. All right, let's go.
I know. Mm-hmm.
Between the two, which is the better Def Leppard song? That's right, we're doubling up. How about that?
What?
Yes, we're doubling up. From the 1983 mega smash hit album Pyromania, Rock of Ages, or from the same 1983 mega smash hit album Pyromania, Comin' Under Fire. Which is the better song betwixt the two?
You've really thrown me for a loop here. I really didn't think you were going to repeat bands.
Back to back. Never been done before.
I'm feeling uncomfortable, but I'm going to have to say Rock of Ages.
Final answer?
Go ahead and lock it in.
All right. Thought you were going to change there. I asked Jess Pryles betwixt the two, which is the better Def Leppard song, Rock of Ages or Comin' Under Fire. And for the second quarter in a row, it's wrong. It's coming under fire. Oh, we were so close. Last time, pour some sugar on me, and we're eating prime rib at the strip bar. And this time, coming under fire is, of course, the right answer. But we were so close. I mean, you were on like a 4 or 5 quarter win streak, and we are back on the schneid
It nearly
again.
felt rigged, and I guess this just proves that it's not.
No,
you know?
I mean,
it's not. That truly you impose your incorrect opinions on everybody else.
We have done something we've never done before. We've gone back-to-back with artists. And with Def Leppard next quarter, there's a very easy chance we could go back-to-back.
I think that's my first back-to-back fail also.
No. Many months of, or many times of failing before you hit the win streak of, I think, 3 or 4 quarters. So like almost a year you were winning, I think.
We should get Barstool involved, and people can bet on this, you know?
It's probably not a bad idea. I mean, everybody's betting on everything. Quasi-sports related. Anything coming up here over the next couple of weeks you want to promote before we let you go?
Thank you for offering. I'm going to be in Abilene at Buffalo Gap Food and Wine. I'm going to be at You Grill Girl in Austin at Franklin Barbecue next week. I'm going to be in Australia for 2 different events in May, and I'll see people at Memphis in May as well.
All right. Well, you can find her at JessPryles.com for recipes, and you can find all your accoutrements and rubs over at HardcoreCarnivore.com, our quarterly guest, Jess Pryles. Jess, always appreciate the time. Thanks very much.
Thank you so much.
You got it. Jess Pryles right there. Again, JessPryles.com for recipes, HardcoreCarnivore.com for gear, pins, rubs, burn-end barbecue sauce, the list goes on. Matt Osman is ready to rock to give us the latest and greatest on what's happening in Memphis next month, gossip, rumors, things he's made up, and the truth. Listen up, gang. Our friends at Big Papa Smokers have something especially for you. Listeners of the show, whether you're a seasoned pitmaster or grilling noob, Big Papa Smokers, your one-stop online shop for all things barbecue. From a championship rub to a mouth-watering sauce or essential accessories, they've got you covered to help take your barbecue and grilling game to the next level. Here's the cherry on top. Big Papa Smokers offering the listeners of the Barbecue Central Show an exclusive deal. Use the code REMPE at checkout. That's REMPE, Romeo Echo, Mike Papa Echo. You'll get $10 off your next $50 purchase of rub sauces or essential accessory. Imagine the possibilities, if you will. Evaluate your ribs with Big Papa's Sweet Money Rub. Or add Big Papa's Desert Gold to your chicken or veggies. Or better yet, pick up Double Secret Steak and put it on your steak. Head on over to BigPapaSmokers.com. Start shopping and saving today. And don't forget to use promo code REMPE at checkout. Claim your $10 off your next order of $50 or more. Free money. 20%, I think. Also, don't forget to check out Big Papa's full line of recipes at cookingwithbigpapa.com. And, of course, follow them on social media platforms as well. For amazing recipes, our pal Matt Osman, Tennessee embedded correspondent, next. Stick around.
You're listening to the Barbecue Central Show. Whole packers, full racks, legs and thighs, injecting butts. If you've never heard this before, you might think you found the best XXX show ever. Let's get back to the most homoerotic host out there today, Craig Rempe.
We thank Jess Pryles for joining us last segment, HardcoreCarnivore.com, JessPryles.com, and bringing you this segment is our pals JRE Tobacco, makers of Aladino cigars. That's right. Aladino Classic, Aladino Corojo Reserve, Aladino Sumatra. They've just come out with the new Cameroon Reserve, all Cameroon binder filler wrapper. If you want some samples, hit up your boy. I got some ready to send out. I got Cameroon, not the Cameroon Reserve, but I got Cameroon to send out, amongst others. JREtobacco.com to find a retailer near you. And we thank JRE for sponsoring the show. Helping me close it out here this evening, the newly minted Tennessee embedded correspondent, the owner of Blinky's Offset Barbecue, and he's on to give us the latest for both Smoke Slam and Memphis in May events that are taking place next month. We are welcoming back our pal, Matt Osmond, to the show. Matt, before we get going, we have a YouTube poll question of the week, and then I have a surprise game that I'm going to be playing with you as well. YouTube poll question of the week-wise: does the acquisition of Barbecue Stars by AmazingRibs.com make you want to become part of their Pitmasters Club, yes or no?
No.
61% agree with you. No is not making them jump over the fence to become a member. 39% are saying
If
yes.
I may.
Okay, go ahead. Hey, look at you.
Came prepared. I came prepared. And
Hardcore Carnivore Black. You a fan of that?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah?
On tri-tip, on steaks. I put it on chicken. I made a post with Pryles and Riles as in Heath with a combination.
Oh, very nice.
So
Hiles and Pryles rub. There could be future business collabs. Everybody's into collabs these days. All right, we're going to play a game. It's called Betwixt the Two. We just played it with Jess Pryles. We're going to play it with you. But before we do... Oh, shit. Hold on.
Uh-oh.
I've just found a folly in my way. I need to change it real quick.
There we go.
Hopefully nobody's seeing this.
I see a little bit of it. K-Y-S-O.
I spell that right?
There we go. Yep.
Maybe nobody saw me. I'm trying to get away with something in June for credit. Tell us a little bit about yourself, Matt.
So, my name is Matt Osmond, originally from Miami, Florida. Moved to Nashville, Tennessee in 2010, which was a little bit iconic because that was the year of the big flood that happened here. I am married with 2 kids. I married a Texan who Jess Pryles is going to Abilene, Texas, where my wife originates from. Have a barbecue food truck in the west side of Nashville called Bellevue, Tennessee, western side of Davison County. And
Matt, wrap it up.
Barbecue 5 days a week.
All right. Betwixt the Two, Matt. From the 1983 Mega Smash hit album, Pyromania. The song Rock of Ages or the 1983 Mega Smash hit Pyromania album, Coming Under Fire. Which one is better?
Rock of Ages.
Final answer?
Final answer.
Right. We've locked them in. I asked Matt Osmond between the two, both coming off the same album in 1983, Mega Smash hit for Def Leppard. Rock of Ages or Coming Under Fire being the better song. I don't know if he missed it or not, but of course we all know that Coming Under Fire is the better song. And just like Jess Pryles guessing Rock of Ages, our pal Matt Osmond guesses Rock of Ages, and guess what? Both wrong. But hey, that's what happens when we play the show Betwixt the Two, hashtag Betwixt the Two on social media as it's starting to trend. And we'll see you next time on Betwixt the Two. All right. Very good. All right, so now we're back at it. Let me get to your outline here because I was in another one. Latest on Blinky's Offset Barbecue biz before we get into the Memphis stuff here for next month.
So gearing up for summertime, as you well know, for some out there, barbecue is seasonal. I guess predominantly, would that be Memorial Day to Labor Day is the barbecue season.
Yeah.
You know, looking for couple weekends to plug the holes for catering offsite events, private event types. Have a summertime menu with a couple different sides. Brisket was launched about 2 months ago and is going fantastic. I have upped my brisket game. So having a great time with it. More would be better, but happy for what I got.
Let's take the two big events that are coming next month individually. Let's start with the long-standing, highly coveted Memphis in May. What are the updates that we know? That either you've been told that you can confirm or rumor/gossip that you're hearing, Memphis in May wise.
Of Memphis in May, there's been one that's going around, but it's gaining legs. This could very well be the last Memphis in May.
What?
The fact of
wow,
there's a little bit of chatter. There's a lot of people who have said this is their last Memphis in May,
like never to be seen again.
Cook teams who, now that SmokeSlam, another Memphis competition, is in the picture, they will probably be cooking the other than not. So they're going to give one more hurrah. You have several teams disgruntled with it being back at Tiger Lane. You have several teams happy that it's back at Tiger Lane. It's a cleaner competition. You're on asphalt. You don't have all the mud, the flooring, the drama, but you don't have the allure. You don't have, Mississippi right here and Arkansas right there across the river. So aside from that, Memphis in May is kind of kept and over. There's some potential business partners or vendors who are maybe winding things back. We're fact checking. So until it's solid with rule number 1 in place, we're going to stand pat for right now. But I'd say that's it for actual Memphis in May.
Is the location that Memphis in May is at in a unsavory part of the city, or is that more talk than anything else?
No, there was tons of theft 2 years ago, like generators, trailers being broken into, beer, being stole out of this. It was the guards for the one way in, one way out were, sleeping on the job, quite literally and figuratively. It was, there was a lot of vandalism, let's say, across the teams in that area. Now, is that to say that all previous years at Tom Lee Park, there's not been vandalism? Nobody's saying that. But it was a shock. It was I woke up this morning and this is gone and somebody I saw, it was heightened. That part of Memphis is being developed, but it is not the prime real estate. So the other side is much better, safer.
Updates on SmokeSlam event that we know of right now. Gossip, fact, or otherwise.
Gossip and fact. Fact is it's happening. Gossip was that it's cheaper than Memphis in May. That's not exactly coming to be there now.
What are you hearing?
Say that I'm hearing that the teams are disgruntled because of maybe not all the organization being up to speed, having all the T's crossed, the I's dotted. There's a lot of fluidity, and we're 2.5 weeks out. So that's the reality. That's what you're hearing. You're also hearing that this competition could morph, change, be rebranded as a bigger competition down the road. This is kind of the predecessor, if you will. So the fact that MBN is sanctioning it, there's a possibility this could be a big championship for MBN rather than the other Memphis competition.
Is that something that MBN is looking to do? Are they looking to have a big major event? I mean, other than hearing that they had sanctioning and then hearing Mark Williams talk about MBN last year, and it was middle of the year towards end of the year that he was even mentioning it. I can't remember the last time I heard anybody even talk about MBN. No shade, but it's from a hearing it standpoint, I wasn't hearing about it.
So I've always described it to people not in the barbecue circle. If KCBS is Coca-Cola, MBN is more like the Pepsi, where both have huge followings. but one gets all the shine and the glory, and the other one's kind of like, oh, you did that. But those who love Pepsi are really big fans of Pepsi.
Yeah.
I think NBN could absolutely grow. They've changed rules. Heath is on record saying it. Malcolm is on record. They have wound back the necessary amount of meat, the way to cook, adjusted some timelines. That's the other thing about SmokeSlam that not a lot of other people know. SmokeSlam is going back to an original MBN timeline where you have the on-sites and the finals. Well, current MBN does not have that. All the teams out there hunting points, Old Burger Bear is not doing a on-site presentation to multiple judges. They turn in a blind box. It goes to be judged. Finals are announced. Those teams are judged by finals judged, not by on-site judges. Well, the finals is on-site. I'm saying preliminary. Excuse me. So that's a specialty. They're going back to how it used to be, which makes sense.
Is that better? That's better?
Adds a pizzazz. I mean, it's what Memphis and May, that's their outline. You know, Memphis is blind box, preliminaries, and if you make finals, final on-site. But current MBN doesn't do that. So just an extra wrinkle. Make all the teams be on top of their game.
Do you think SmokeSlam's going to come off ultimately in a less glamorous light than it might be initially billing itself?
No. It's $50,000. How much more glamour do you want than double what the other guys are paying? You don't get the world championship with it. That has value. Reciprocity between organizers, Memfo of SmokeSlam towards KCBS with the Jack, possibly reaching out to folks at the American Royal. I was on the KCBS, not to wander, but town hall the other day, and I had posed that question to Rod Gray, who was one of the moderators. Of course, the board was on there, was available to any KCBS member. And I said, hey, is KCBS looking to partner with SmokeSlam to bring them into the fold? Now, it's different because the Jack is done and put on by Jack Daniels, American Royal by the American Royal. But the common denominator is KCBS.
Yeah.
So I think it could happen. I hope it happens. It'd be great if there was, somebody else in the room.
What do you know about real costs for the event, that being SmokeSlam, versus what was told to me on the show a few months back, somewhere in the neighborhood of $2,500 or $4,500 for a certain size spot? Are they in line or are they ballooning?
No, that part is accurate. Like
Okay.
the team entry fee, that's correct. Across the board, man, it's just as expensive as Memphis and May.
Yeah.
It is the same company that is both providing the tents, the flooring, the rentals. It's the exact same company. Yet to be seen, as some people remember when this came about, we were worried about judges. We wanted to know if the judging pool was going to be vast enough for, I think Memphis and May has 160 something teams. SmokeSlam has 59. Are there enough judges to go around? Well, it's now the same company providing tents, flooring, barricades, etc. Does that company have enough? I mean, they have before, because Memphis and May used to be like 300 teams?
Yeah,
at its,
way
peak?
more.
Yeah. So they should, but they're going to have to split resources all the way across. 2 different locations in Memphis. I want to trust, I want to believe that they can pull this off. We're going to see on load-in. We're going to see on setup. And by Wednesday, I think we're going to know.
Any other hot items that we want to keep our ear to the ground on or be on the lookout for before these 2 events come off on that same weekend?
Big hot items, not necessarily.
All right.
or not that's coming to ring a bell. SmokeSlam is putting on something genuine. They've got World Food Championships with the ancillaries. We've discussed that. They also have the World Junior Barbecue League. I'll be there coaching. One Miss JC Blarton with Barbecue Bugsy. It is, obviously put on and helped with Melissa Cookston and that whole regime. It's a big, big organization. A lot of push for this. And it's $25,000 for that part of it. Now, divided into place, but I mean, that might be an $8,000 or $10,000 check going to a youngster. Yeah. So we're gonna get our entry in there. Our youth cook, JC's a very, very talented girl. She knows how to do it. She can outcook her daddy. Let's just say it like that. But it's exciting. It's May. It's barbecue. We're all here. We're ready. We're gonna see if they hold up their end of the bargain.
Matt Osman is here, the Tennessee Embedded correspondent, and he's going to back it up next week. He's going to sit in for the Embedded correspondence. We'll go through the surety picks. We have some other topics that we'll get into as well. In the meantime, you can follow him over at Blinky's Offset BBQ _ and see what he's up to there. And you can also find him here on this show as well. And again, as I just mentioned, he'll be in next week, sitting in with the other Embedded correspondents. Matt, appreciate the info, and we'll see you next week.
Appreciate it, Greg. Thank you.
Again, follow him, Blinky's Offset BBQ, and don't forget to add the _ at the end. See everything that Matt's up to. Very active, always digging for the latest story, trying to get the updates, so I certainly appreciate that, and I'll be interested to see what he's lending to the Embedded correspondence next week, next month, next week, maybe next month too. All right, we're going to wrap the show, give you some highline items to look at next week, and we'll answer any of your questions as well as they pop up. We'll give you a results poll. So stick around. We'll be right back.
Let's get back to a guy who has more experience giving you his opinion than he actually has cooking. Once again, here's your host, Greg Rempe.
We thank our Embedded correspondent out of Tennessee, Matt Osman, for last segment. Just had. No? All right. I had something I was going to tell you about, but I don't remember what it was. Nevertheless, we're going to go ahead and make tracks out of here all the way back in the first hour. We were supposed to have Tim Clowers. I'm not sure exactly what happened, but we'll get that straightened out because I never saw him show up in the box at 10:14 either. So hopefully this wasn't my fault in the time zone thing. We'll figure it out. We'll try and get him rebooked as well here sooner than later. After what was supposed to be the Tim segment, we had Wes Wright, cookoutnews.com. Make sure you're checking out his website for all the latest and greatest industry news, mergers, acquisitions, and release of products. Plus, he does reviews over there as well. Second hour, Jess Pryles. We talked about the cultural, racial, familial divides of washing meat. We took steak on its own, then we took chicken on its own. We talked about why you wouldn't want to do that, or what the science is telling you and the health department is telling you. We might have said insolent. She's also riding a 2-quarter schneid on betwixt the two, but she'll look to get over that hump in July. And then we close it out with Matt Osman, Tennessee Embedded correspondent, getting us ready for the month of May that will find Memphis in May and SmokeSlam coming off the very same weekend. What was the gossip? What are the facts and all that stuff? Big show planned for you next week. Embedded correspondents are in amongst others. So how do we always leave you? September 11th, 2001. I will never forget. Until next Tuesday at 9 p.m. Eastern, program host and proud U.S. American Greg Rempe. Good night now.
BBQ Central.